Hey guys, I'm just going to talk over some scientific notation stuff. I gave you this is the blue packet for scientific notation that y'all got on Monday. And I'm just going to go through a couple of the problems that, these are on the second page. Um, Everything that we did in class is on that first page. And this looks a little messy here. What you wrote down is a little messy too. But jumping into it, scientific notation, we're basically looking at doing the four operations. And so add, subtract, multiply, divide. Here, 1 and 2 is just addition. So for example, with 1, I'm just asking you to add. Now, the only thing you have to be careful about is making sure that your exponents match. This is the same as adding together regular terms. If those don't match, you can't add these together. They do match, so you can add up 1.08 and 9.3. Which of course is 10.38. 10 with a negative 3. I'm not changing the 10. Exponents aren't changing. For example, if I added these two, that would be a 5x squared. I'm not changing the exponent. I'm not changing the x. I'm just adding up the numbers in front there. Now, from your STAR exam, you will have to deal with changing over the decimal. So for example here, the STAR exam is going to want you to move this over to have your answer be 1.038. Now moving this over means that you'll have to change your exponent. Now I made the number smaller here whenever I moved that decimal over, so I'll have to take negative 3, which was the exponent, I'll have to increase that once to negative 2. So this would be your final answer here. I'm going to kind of blow through these other ones. Our basic idea for like 3 was, it's still subtraction. You still have to have matching exponents. I don't here, so I'd have to adjust the exponents. So I'll take this first one and I'll increase that to a negative 5. Now, because I'm increasing the exponent, that means I'm going to have to decrease the actual number. So I'm taking 2.32 and I'm making that smaller, 0.232. 0.232 is smaller than 2.32. I've made this number smaller because I made my exponent bigger. Now that I have my exponents matching, now it would just be subtraction. So this minus that, whatever that is, it would be, I'm pretty sure it's negative 3.768. And again, the 10 is not changing. The notation for the exponent isn't changing. So you have two parts. You have your number and your variable, or not your variable, your exponent. So your numbers have got to be able to subtract here. Your exponent has to be the same for that to happen. I had to do an adjustment. I decreased that number, or sorry, I went from negative 6 to negative 5. I increased that number, which meant I had to make this number smaller by moving that decimal. Now multiplication is just going to be multiply your numbers, your variable or your exponents. I keep calling variables. Your exponents are going to be just adding up here. This is what we talked about in class yesterday. Negative 5 and negative 6 is negative 11. So there's your exponent. Whatever 7.1 times 6.7 is, I think it's 47.57. Now, again, whenever you're dealing with this for STAR is going to want you to look at this as one number, then the decimals after that. So this would be increase or move the decimal to make the number smaller. So that would be 4.757. So 47 is bigger than 4.7. So I made the number smaller, which means that over here, I'll be able to go from negative 11 up to negative 10. And so now down here on 7, similar to multiplication, the numbers just are multiplying up. Here I'm just going to take 7.1 and divide that by 8.2, and that should be 0.866 whenever you round it. Now the exponents are different, and again, we talked about this in class yesterday with our exponent rules. Whenever I'm dividing these, uh, I'm really going to subtract these exponents. So I have, thinking out like this, you have 6 tens on top of this fraction, you have 1 on the bottom. I can get rid of one of those, or simplify one of them out, and get rid of and eliminate this one here on the bottom. So I removed 1 from each of them, meaning that now I'm going to have 1 less, so 10 to the 5th. And again, for star, they're going to want you to take this and move that over 8.66. So I increased, 0.8 is smaller than 8, so I increased the number, which means that now I'm going to have to decrease my exponent. It's a trade-off. You go back and forth like that. Number 9, this is very similar to distribution, how we would distribute a number normally. Now it's just you're distributing an exponent instead. So now this is going to be 8.9 to the 4th power, and then this is going to be 10, and here I'm using 5 times 4, so that would be to the 20th power. Now 8.9 to the 4th power is going to be about 6,274. 10 to the 20. Now again, if you're dealing with this on a star exam, you're going to have to take and adjust that decimal, so I'm going to move that 3 units. Now because I'm making this number smaller by moving the decimal 3 times, I'm going to have to make my exponent bigger by 3 times. Sorry, crappy 3. There we go. All right, that's just an example of each of the operations there using the scientific notation. So if you got any other questions, I can answer those tomorrow.